Hey up, Sofa Squad. We are live, and it's a pleasure to introduce you all to my new co-host, Niece.
Hello.
Ooh.
Welcome,
Much Stool's chagrin.
and we've got Stool and Purple with us as well at the moment.
Yeah, just to bring some grown-up shenanigans.
Insinuating that neither of us are grown-ups.
I didn't say that.
I'd be offended if he was inferring I was. I mean, I may be old, but doesn't mean I have to act like an adult.
Yeah. I would say it's quite therapeutic in these times to embrace your inner child.
Mike, are you actually eating crisps?
No, it's not me.
Who is it?
Sorry, that was my pill bottle.
So, our first.
You're far away again.
Oh, am I?
Come on, Mike. We've
How about
discussed
now?
this. Near, far away.
That is better.
Is that better? Okay,
That's
good.
That is better.
Okay,
Do you
so
want to start now?
I'm trying to, yes. Our first story is about Matt Hancock.
Boo.
And
With a name like that, I understand him being booed.
We call him Wet Mancock.
I like it.
There's the article in question. Yeah, he acted unlawfully by failing to publish the COVID contracts because he's supposed to publish them within 30 days. And the High Court judge ruled that he failed to do so, and so therefore he was acting unlawfully.
Mm-hmm.
So what exactly are the details of these contracts? Like, what did they entail?
Oh, good grief.
I'm a little unprepared today. I literally just woke up. I promise that won't happen again.
Well, can I just remind people that about 2 weeks ago we were talking about this, and I mentioned Wet Mancock about how he'd awarded the contract for the manufacture of the vials for the vaccine to his friend who used to live next door to him and who now runs his local pub.
Yes.
Yeah.
Corruption everywhere.
And the other little gem, of course, is that thing that we've just placed on Mars, that cute little robot. I think the total price was what? Was it 2 billion or 5 billion? And our track and trace system, 22 billion. Think about that.
Yes.
I'm going to keep on repeating that one because it blows my mind. And that 22 billion went to the friends of the Tories.
Yeah. But he's refusing to resign. He's not going to.
Thank you, Stool. I'm going to have to bring that up because somebody was getting on me yesterday about the whole thing about why were they wasting all this money on the Mars rover.
So it sounds to me, I mean, if he's refusing to resign, it sounds like it's an ego thing. Oh my God, if I resign, I might have to admit wrongdoing.
He's a slimy piece of shit. Did you hear what Rees-Mogg said today in the House of Commons, Mike?
No, I didn't.
This? Oh my gosh, you've got to hunt down the audio clip. Have a look at LBC Twitter and see what James O'Brien, he played it. And he basically says that it wasn't really unlawful because we're beating the world with the vaccine, which is nonsense. And you know, the guy who was responsible for taking them to court, he's the lawyer bloke from the Good Law Project called, oh God, what's his name? He's the guy who killed a fox. Do you remember him?
Oh yeah, yeah.
You know, he went
can't
out into
remember
his
his name.
garden and he had to kill a fox. Well, Rees-Mogg in the House of Commons this afternoon 3 times referred to this lawyer as the fox murderer.
Okay, so he killed the fox because it was causing a nuisance on his property. He wasn't like going fox hunting.
No. He was killing it because it was eating his chickens. And the double
Oh
whammy,
no! Sounds like
double
a
whammy
great,
here-
fantastic Mr. Fox reference.
the double whammy is that Rees-Mogg loves fox hunting, as in the real kind. He does it.
Yeah. Even though it's illegal, technically.
Yeah,
You must-
there's just a huge difference there between the two.
You must dig out that audio clip, Mike. LBC James O'Brien, he plays it and he kind of explains what is happening, which is they're treating us like idiots.
No, I can't find it, I'm afraid. But yeah, that doesn't surprise me in the slightest. And I'll read a bit from the article. Research by the procurement consultancy Trussell had found Hancock's Department of Health and Social Care has spent about 15 billion buying PPE from different companies by the beginning of October, but that only 2.68 billion worth of contracts had been published. Government regulations require all contracts with a value of more than £10,000 to be published and to be sent for publication within 30 days of being awarded.
Yeah,
And Hancock did not do this.
Hancock is a piece of shit. Yesterday, I think it was on live TV. He was doing the rounds on the breakfast things, and several times he said that there was never a PPE shortage in the UK. Well, I was there, and I remember we didn't have any of this stuff. Our nurses were wearing bin bags.
There were PPE shortages all over the world. How can he?
Yeah, and they went. I'm going back. I remember everything from last year. They went public and said, "Look, we need help. Come forward. Give us your details. We need PPE." And yet, yesterday he flat out denied we'd ever had a shortage. Unbelievable.
Yeah. But when Sophie Ridge asked Keir Starmer, the leader of the opposition, if Hancock should resign, he said no.
No, that's one thing these people will never do. You know, in the old days when you did a naughty and you were in government, you were made to resign, weren't you? But this lot, they just don't care. They'll do whatever they want to do. And even if it turns out to be wrong, they don't give a shit because it doesn't affect them.
Yeah, just like the Republicans over here.
Oh,
But,
good, you said it, so I didn't have to.
We all
but
knew
don't you
it.
think Keir Starmer should be calling on Hancock to
He
resign?
he should be doing a lot of things, but he's not, is he?
No.
I'm afraid to ask what you mean by a lot of things.
He's just not doing his job. The argument would be that there's a bit of a pandemic going on, so he should be kind of supportive of the government. But the official job of the leader of the opposition is to oppose the government. That's literally what the job is.
Yeah.
In order to promote debate, so things get talked about in Parliament.
Yeah. Exactly.
But he ain't doing it.
Virus equals TP shortage. LOL. Next time there's a hurricane, I'm stocking up on light bulbs in case the power goes out. Jeez.
And so yeah, it's you'd think, wouldn't you, that with everything that's going on, with how badly the government are doing at the moment, you'd think that Labour would be going up in the polls.
Oh God, that's not going to happen. We'll get this lot again in 4 years' time. I can guarantee it.
Yeah.
But don't forget, this is not the first time that they've been taken to and lost in. the Supreme Court. I mean, it happened right at the beginning, well, before the election, the prorogation thing. They were taken to court and they said, no, it's illegal. You can't do that.
Yeah, exactly.
But nobody will remember these things except for me because I'm a silly
Yep.
bugger.
And Boris Johnson hid inside an industrial fridge rather than speak to Piers Morgan,
Yeah.
and he still won.
Yeah, on live TV. He hid in a fridge.
Now I've heard everything. I had never heard that before. Really hide in a fridge rather than talk to Pierce Morgan. Like, what was he afraid of? That he was willing to risk that kind of.
He didn't want
He's
to be
scared
held
of questions.
accountable.
Oh, did you hear the stuff that Rudy Giuliani has done to prevent them serving papers on him?
Oh
What's
no, I did not. I'm always good to make fun of Rudy Giuliani. What the hell did he do?
Well, the last time they tried to serve papers on him, he was getting into his vehicle and he slammed the door on the bag of papers the guy was trying to give him, and had the doorman there was poking at it with his umbrella to dislodge it from the door so he could slam the door closed without acknowledging the paperwork.
Giuliani's a lawyer. I would think he would know that the papers don't always have to be in your hand to constitute proper service. There are allowances within our laws.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous.
Rudy's not the brightest bulb on the Christmas tree, though.
Yeah, definitely. The wheel is spinning, but the hamster is dead.
It's really sad. It's because years ago, after 9/11, he was a hero. Everyone loved him.
He still married his cousin, though.
Did he?
Yeah.
I did not know.
Well, he wasn't a hero for doing anything. He just kind of rode the wave because everybody felt bad for New York. Nobody actually realized that at the time he hadn't really done anything to help the effort.
Ah, right. Yeah.
He was just in the right place at the right time.
Well, we have the Lavender Lady in the chat. Hello.
Oh,
Hey, Diana.
hi, Diana.
Sorry, go
Yay.
on.
And Brainbug.
And Brainbug too. Hello, Mr. Brainbug.
Hi.
They've
Sorry,
all
go
come
on,
to
right?
watch your incredibly long intro.
It's not that long. There are longer intros.
You'll
It's
notice
long.
they came in late so that they missed the intro.
Ah, yeah.
Are you
They've
sure they
got the
didn't
right
come hoping
idea.
I would roast you again, Stool?
Purple's got them sussed out. They timed it so they wouldn't have to watch the intro.
Yeah, that's right. But moving on to our next story, why is Tony Blair butting his oaring?
What has he done? Is this about vaccines?
Desperation to say relevant, I'd say.
Yeah. I'll share the article. But he has set out his own roadmap out of lockdown.
Oh God, I'm sick of hearing that word, roadmap.
There he is. There's our former Prime Minister.
Yeah, what do you need with a roadmap if no one's allowed to travel?
It
He
says
said-
former
Did I
Prime
read
Minister.
there at the top that he said his roadmap will have traffic lights?
Yes,
I'm voting for it. I want this roadmap. I like traffic lights.
complete with traffic lights.
Yes,
Former
because
Prime
we're
Minister.
all stupid and need these things.
A traffic light for a.
Former Prime
Figure-
Minister Tony Blair has published his own roadmap out of lockdown, complete with a traffic light system for reopening different sectors of the economy, just 3 days before Downing Street is set to publish its own. At the heart of the Institute's proposal, a red, amber, green alert system driven by the R rate and associated COVID infection levels. For each
Oh,
colour band, there was a trigger point which would determine when schools, non-essential retail, and hospitality should open again.
You know, we actually had this. This
Wasn't
was
it
one
called
of
tiers?
we had different colours, and
Yeah.
that was one of the first. We've had so many different systems. That was one of the first ones. We had handy little colours, but it's looking here like Tony's roadmap doesn't have a catchy 3-word slogan, so it won't win. It'll never catch on because we're all
Yeah, so
stupid
it's
and we
still
need that.
Well, you have to at least be down to a 4th grade level.
Mhm.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm suspicious, but on one hand, I kind of feel he needs to, he deserves to get a bit of credit for releasing his before the government releases their official one, rather than just coming out the day after and saying, no, they got it all wrong.
Have our government
Oh.
released the roadmap yet, or is that?
Yes,
Yeah.
they have.
Oh,
They have indeed.
Well, I thought the article was saying that he was
all I
releasing it
know
3
is
days
that-
ahead of theirs.
all I
It's a-
know is that
There's
we're
a few.
allowed to be
That article's a
excited.
few days old now, to be fair.
That's the June the 21st thing, then.
Yep.
Mm.
Oh,
But Tony Blair, does he really have any power to, to affect policy
he
anymore?
doesn't have any power to do anything, but he's allowed an opinion. I mean, he was the Prime Minister, and he understands more about that job than dumbfuck, what's he called, Johnson ever will. I mean, he knows how governments run.
Yeah.
Johnson hasn't got a bloody clue.
And
Yeah,
I take it that's what he's trying to show, was kind of saying, see, you idiots, you should have kept me.
Yeah, I think that's what he's saying.
And
I wonder
so-
how long before Trump does something like that, bid to be like, hey, why didn't you just keep me in office?
Yeah,
To be fair, I've not got a problem with this because Tony Blair popped up again during that prorogation affair, and he said, "Look," to Corbyn, he said, "Look, don't fall for this. Do not fall for it." And he was right to
Yeah.
do that.
yeah. Shall we have a look at Boris Johnson's roadmap?
Oh God, it tattooed on his ass.
I was thinking it was scribbled with a crayon on the back of a child's menu.
Let's have a look. Here we go. Boris Johnson unveils plan to end England restriction by the 21st of June. There
Sorry
he
if
is.
I'm quiet. I'm keeping my microphone muted because I'm in the middle of a horrible sneezing fit. I promise I'm paying
Yeah.
attention.
Oh dear. But he's saying by shops, hairdressers, gyms, and outdoor hospitality could reopen on 12th of April in England under plans set out by the Prime Minister. From the 17th of May, 2 households might be allowed to mix in homes.
Do
Well, the rule
we
of six-
actually take his bloody promises and predictions seriously anymore? Talks out of his ass.
He's apparently his aim is to be cautious but irreversible. He's hoping that this lockdown will be the last one. This will be the lockdown to end all lockdowns.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, cautious but irreversible. So let's be careful, but if we make a mistake, let's not go back on it.
Yeah,
I'm starting to understand why Johnson is referred to as the UK's version of Trump, although it sounds like with a lot less racism and grabbing him by the pussy.
Oh, he's very
Yeah.
racist.
Well, that I didn't know, but I'm not shocked.
Mm-hmm.
The problem with Johnson is that he's got Trump's attitudes and he's slightly more competent at being able to pull it off.
So basically, someone like Johnson is what we should be afraid of over here. Somebody who's smarter and speaks at more than a 4th grade level. And
Well, somebody who can maintain the same lie for a couple of months.
He was visiting he was doing one of his visits to a school today. And he said to a little school child, "I only became Prime Minister because I was going through a midlife crisis." Because that's the kind of thing that's happened.
He said this to a child.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Very serious, yeah. You can watch the vid.
As if a child would have any clue what a midlife crisis is.
And somebody on Twitter said, "Fucking hell, why didn't he just buy a Porsche?"
Yeah, really. People generally, when they're going through a midlife crisis, they do things like buy a sports car or dump their wife for a younger model. They don't run for
Well,
a
he's done that.
office.
He's done that when he became Prime Minister and his lady friend moved into number 10 with him. He was still married to somebody else.
Oh man, he really is the UK Donald Trump.
Yeah, exactly.
Nobody in the UK actually knows how many children he's got. And he's got quite a few.
Does he even know how many children he has?
Probably not, no.
What is it, 7? Was it 7 on the last count?
I think 7 is the number that we're going for, yeah.
Honestly, I don't think Trump knows how many children he's got. I suspect it's about 3 fewer than he thinks he has.
That wouldn't surprise me. I mean, at the very least, he's probably paid for quite a few abortions.
Oh yeah, of course he has. Mm-hmm.
No, I just mean any of them that show any intelligence I don't believe are his. I think it's his wife having affairs.
Yeah.
Well, so
Allegedly.
far, none of the known Trump children seem to exhibit any sort of a brain on their
Oh
sort of a
God.
brain between their ears.
Don Jr. was doing one of his drug-fueled rants on video again the other day.
Lord, when is somebody going to put that man in rehab?
He is one dumb... He's not the brightest, is he?
It's okay, Stool. We're all grown-ups. You can say it. He's one dumb motherfucker.
Well, golly gosh, I'm shocked. Wash your mouth out, young lady. We'll have none of that language here.
You know what? You are the last person.
And
bumbling, beardless baboon.
Oh, I love that. Thank you so much.
No problem. I'm always good for a decent roast.
I'm still waiting
In the
for Mike to
culinary sense, too.
patronise
I'm
me.
also a talented cook.
Mike, go on, patronise me.
Nigel Farage he was complaining that Easter's cancelled.
Oh God.
That's news to me.
Sorry, no bringing your dead guy back this year.
Is this a today thing, Mike? I've not seen this.
That was a few days ago. But have you heard his latest conspiracy theory?
Oh God, I forget. I tried to ignore him.
He's claiming that soon Chinese propaganda is going to be taught in our schools.
Oh yeah, that was it.
Oh,
yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, he said that. Is that what your him crying video is?
Yes. Yes.
For the benefit of the clever people inside chat, it was before the intro.
He's really that emotional about his conspiracies that he's like crying about them.
He said that China was buying all our schools.
Yeah.
And that they were going to teach all our children Chinese propaganda.
I'm pretty sure that's on our top. I'm pretty sure we're going to be covering that, actually. Now's as good a time as any.
And he was referring to an article in the Daily Mail.
That's never a
I'll
good
bring
thing
it up
to do.
now.
Isn't the Daily Mail as believable as Fox News over here?
Yeah, it's on the same lines as the National Enquirer.
I do enjoy reading it for shits and giggles, I won't lie.
Yep.
Yeah. British schools. I hate their website because adverts keep popping up on it, but hundreds of independent schools left in dire financial straits by the coronavirus pandemic are being targeted by Chinese investors, the Mail on Sunday can reveal. Experts anticipate a feeding frenzy as firms, including some run by high-ranking members of the ruling Chinese Communist Party, seek to expand their influence over Britain's education system.
Just for the benefit of our foreign friends, this is about public schools, and in the UK, public schools aren't for the public. They're what you pay to go to if you're really rich.
Yeah,
And it's something like 2.7% of children go to public schools. I mean, these are the wealthy people.
yeah.
So of that
Okay.
2.7% of people of kids who go to public school, I think they're talking about 2 or 3 schools that may have some kind of funding from China or something. It's not a story at all.
Well, it says 9 of the 17 schools under Chinese control are owned by firms whose founders or bosses are among China's most senior Communist Party members.
Right, okay. Farage is a sad sack, he really is.
Yeah. So you're right, Stool. This is a non-story.
All Farage's stories are non-stories. Now that he's lost his Brexit money earner, he's just latching on to every little piece of shitty conspiracy theory out there. Are you getting bombarded with the ads for his new scam on YouTube?
No, I'm not actually.
I get them on mobile.
Yeah.
Pretty much every time I open YouTube on mobile, you see him advertising his new scam, which is, pay me money and you'll earn lots of money kind of thing.
Yeah.
So whoever is funding him is paying a lot of money for YouTube ads, because I'm seeing it a hell of a lot.
All right. Yeah. And
His Russian chums again.
yes, yeah, he's he's been bankrolled by a Russian oligarch, apparently.
Allegedly.
That's a familiar story.
Yeah, as are a lot of our conservative people as well. A lot of Russian money going around in this country, but it's not going to me.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
apparently Nigel Farage was, he spent a lot of time, kissing Trump's ass, and when he was in the United States, and he was hoping that he was going to get a job on Fox News, but it didn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
So now he's got to find another way of grifting money.
Yeah, I hate that guy with a passion. I really do.
Mm.
Such a sad grifter, he really is.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, in a way, you maybe have to admire him. I don't believe I'm saying that, but he spent his grift for 20 years was, the EU is evil.
Yeah.
Keep voting for me to be an MEP in the EU Parliament, where I can rip off on the old expenses claims.
Yeah.
And they kept voting for him to go. God, you couldn't make this shit up, could you?
Exactly.
Check out my video on my YouTubes. There's an interview with him from about 20 years ago when he got the gig as an MEP, and he was bragging about how easy it was to fiddle the expenses. And that's basically what he spent 20 years doing, allegedly.
Yeah. Allegedly. Yeah. It's like the early days of "Have I got news for you?" This, isn't it? We keeping on repeating the word allegedly.
Exactly. Well, you can't be too careful these days.
Yeah.
I had a poo earlier, allegedly.
Well, the thing I keep hearing on the internet is saying in Minecraft.
All right.
That's like, I hope this person dies in Minecraft.
Is that a new thing?
Yeah, Utah Outcast uses it a lot.
That's good. I like that.
See, that way they can't, get you for inciting violence or anything like that.
Yeah.
Oh, I must remember to use that. I like it. That's cute.
Yes. I tried to bring up this story, but Dallas News is not available here in Europe, apparently. So I can't actually share the article with you, but
This is why you need a VPN.
yes, exactly. But gritty customers face $5,000 bills for 5 freezing days in Texas.
The whole power grid was down. How was it even possible that anyone was still being charged any money, especially to the tune of $5,000? This is what happens when you let capitalism run rampant and unchecked.
Well, Texas has got that silly mentality, hasn't it? They did something to make sure that their electricity supplies weren't regulated by the government, didn't they?
Well,
yeah, I
they
think
cut
the only
themselves
state-
off from the rest of the country. So if none of the power lines crossed any state lines, then the federal government has no authority.
Mm.
Yeah, is it true that Texas is the only state that
Yep.
sorts out its own power?
Yeah, and the governor of Texas came out and made a statement that, well, the people of Texas would gladly go a lot longer without power just if it meant that they didn't have to be regulated by the federal government. And it's kind of like, did you ask any of the people with frozen water pipes about that?
Yeah.
I mean, Texas just needs to be. They've been threatening to secede. Fucking go already, really. We don't.
Oh, I wish they would.
Oh, so do I.
Are we thinking the weather? Sorry, the weather in Texas was a bit of a freaky occurrence, wasn't it? Are we putting this? Are we putting this down to the old climate crisis?
Well, it was a rare occurrence, although they had a similar thing happen almost exactly 10 years ago. And at the time, everybody told everybody involved in running the power companies that if they didn't winterize their equipment, this would happen again and it would be worse.
God, yeah.
But of course, they didn't want to spend any money on upgrading the equipment, so...
It was the wind turbines, wasn't it, that froze up?
That's what they tried to claim at first, but even the CEO of the power company said that, no, wind turbines never provided more than 13% of our electricity, and actually, they were still running.
Mm.
Yeah.
So was that not true then, that the turbines froze up?
Nope. The turbines were not significantly affected as far as the amount of power they were producing. Most of the problem came from the natural gas fueled power plants.
So let me guess, are the Texans saying, no, there's still no such thing as man-made climate change, Jesus did it?
The Texans are claiming that it's not real snow, that it's some type of synthetic compound that was produced by the chemtrails, and Bill Gates is behind it all.
Did you see that wonderful...
ridiculous... I think there's a challenge going on down there where they're trying to set the snow on fire.
I saw that, yeah.
Did you see that? That was funny. Did you see that wonderful thread on the Twitters? Some official said something about it being a liberal conspiracy or whatever, the snow. And it turned into a massive, hilarious thread of people coming up with all these nonsense conspiracy theories. And I wet myself a little because somebody said, well, I was cooking a live rabbit and through my window I could see Obama scooping snow onto the drive with a teaspoon.
Okay, I'm sure most of those were a joke.
Okay.
Let's fuck with the stupid Texans.
My go-to, any of these conspiracy theories, I think the thing that unravels them the fastest is ask them for the motive. Okay, they're claiming the snow was created by Bill Gates. how did Bill Gates profit from it snowing in Texas?
That's always the one you say, who
Yeah.
gains from this conspiracy?
Yeah.
What do they get?
How did somebody get more out of this than the amount of resources they would have had to put in to pull it off?
Yeah, I mean, just imagine poor Obama. He must have spent hours with that teaspoon shoveling snow onto people's driveways.
Yeah.
It just wasn't worth it for him.
Well, and the whole thing about the artificial snow, okay, even if I try to go along with it, how did they make it cold enough for the water pipes to freeze there? And if they made it cold enough for the water pipes to freeze, why would they need to pump in artificial snow? If you've got it that cold and it rains, you've got natural snow.
That just goes to further debunk the ridiculous conspiracy theory of weather manipulation.
Dear.
Yeah.
The old-fashioned classic conspiracy theories are making a comeback, I've noticed. Thanks to what's happened in the UK and the US and all the QAnon shit.
Yeah.
A lot of the old-fashioned conspiracy theories are being resurrected. And I was talking about this briefly today because somebody, Mike, some of these dim-witted shop openers are putting signs, shopkeepers are putting signs on the premises, like hairdressers and whatever, you're saying, Magna Carta, blah, blah, blah. I do not consent and all that shit.
Mm-hmm.
That's a very, very old one.
Yeah, that's the sovereign citizen stuff.
Yeah.
Oh God, my older sister got wrapped up in the sovereign citizen stuff. That is why we do not speak.
Good move.
I cursed out one of her cult leaders. This was years ago, and I have two sisters, the sane one and the crazy one, and the crazy one is the one that got wrapped up in the sovereign citizen nonsense, and she was wrapped up with this guy. His name was Dean Clifford, and apparently the guy has been shut down in Canadian courts multiple times over for spouting his ridiculous theories.
Unfortunately, sorry, go on.
It was just ridiculous, and that's why we don't talk anymore. And I remember saying to my stepfather, like, your daughter has something missing in her head. Like,
unfortunately, I spent a little bit too much of my time years ago studying these idiots and the crap that they spout. So I am familiar with all the nonsense and all the big names and the big kind of players in this thing. So over there you've got, you invented your sovereign citizen nonsense. Canada copied it and called it free man on the land, and then we copied it. And it's hilarious in a way because over here, I call it sovereign citizens without the guns. They're just idiots, basically.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, people who fall on hard times financially fall for this bullshit because they believe they can get free money and you don't have to pay your bills or anything if you sign your name the correct way and all this shit. They end up losing their homes, being evicted, in prison, and all kinds of shit. So even though it's one of those ridiculously absurd conspiracy theories, when people fall for it, it causes a lot of fucking problems.
I was listening to a thing last night that actually made a lot of sense. They had never identified who QAnon was, who originally started all that.
Oh, yeah.
And I was listening to a theory that it was actually started by some Russian operatives, that they didn't really care what happened. They didn't really care what anybody believed. They just figured if they stirred up some batshit conspiracies, it would help divide the U.S. before the election.
That would be plausible because Russia have been doing that a hell of a lot.
Yeah.
2016 in both our countries. And then once they've sowed that little seed of conspiracy nonsense, they can walk away and just let everybody fight.
Well, and that seems to be what's happened now, that, the original Q has gone silent. Nobody's heard from them in months. All the stuff keeps going on its own.
There was a story, well, that's how conspiracy theories work, but there was a story about it, I think it was the New York, I don't know, it was a big proper newspaper anyway. And they traced back the history of QAnon, and they kind of worked out that it was basically Do you remember what are those two women called who pretended to be Trump fans? The two black ladies, Diamond and Silk. Is that them?
Yeah, that's them. Yeah.
Diamond and Silk. They were basically relatively normal people, but they weren't bringing in the money, and so they realised, as you do,
Yeah.
to get your YouTube subs up and to get the money coming in. Hey, let's pretend we're a Republican and we love the Republicans, and let's pretend we love Trump. Ka-ching, in comes the money. And this New York newspaper, whatever, kind of likened it to those two people. It was, I think it was actually, again, two women, maybe I'm wrong, who had a YouTube channel and they weren't getting the hits, and so they made up this bullshit about Q, and unfortunately they promoted it in a different way and it hit an audience that wouldn't normally get to see this kind of crap. So in America, you're kind of white, of a certain age type person who wouldn't usually go looking at this kind of stuff, and that's how it took off.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Then I think the next article we need to talk about is that UK unemployment rises to 5.1% as COVID lockdown freezes economy.
Do we know what that is in numbers? How many millions is that?
Hang on, let's see if I can share the article. I should be able to.
This would be interesting, actually, because I was just listening to a conversation about this on the radio.
Ah. There's more recent figures from HM Revenue and Customs for January showed that there were 726,000 fewer people on company payrolls in January compared with February 2020 before the pandemic. And there's a nice chart for you to look at.
Oh, we like charts. The figure the reason I ask about numbers in millions is because if you're old and wise enough, you'll remember the 80s, which is when unemployment absolutely went through the roof in this country. And our population then, I think, was 10 million less than it is now, 56 million, I believe, and over 3 million people were unemployed then. So that's kind of my yardstick. I need to know what that percentage equates to in millions.
Yeah, and in the US, the 80s were when they came up with a clever way to recalculate unemployment so it didn't seem as bad when there were a lot more people out of work.
Yeah, we did the same. Reagan and Thatcher were fucking twats.
Yeah.
Most people in the US still aren't aware of that trick, that you can't compare the numbers before Reagan was in office to the numbers after he was in office.
Yeah, he definitely wreaked holy havoc now, didn't he?
Yeah, well, that, 3%
lightly.
unemployment now is about twice as much as a 3% unemployment in the early 80s.
Those two have got a lot to answer for, Reagan and Thatcher.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Well, I mean, Reagan's dead, so.
Also Thatcher, but...
The legacies live on today. That's the problem.
It's also why we had to start talking about the difference between unemployment and joblessness.
Yeah.
These are not the same thing. Don't let them pull it over on you.
One of these things is not like the other.
Well, what's the difference between unemployment and joblessness?
Unemployment are only the people who qualify for government unemployment benefits. Joblessness are the people who are actually out of work, many of whom have been out of work so long that they no longer qualify for benefits. Ah,
right. Yeah.
I forget the details, but we've got a similar little trick over here. How the numbers are fudged. I can't remember exactly what it is now, but it's a similar thing to what Purple just said.
Yeah, so basically, if you've been out of work for more than 6 months, you're no longer counted as being unemployed.
I see. Right. Yeah. And that's how they massage the figures, isn't it? In their favor.
Yeah, that's how they made it look like the unemployment wasn't as bad before the election.
Yeah.
You know,
Thankfully, that
both
didn't.
parties do it. Which set of figures they'll quote will depend on which party's trying to get into power.
Yeah, exactly. But
I'm going to have
sorry,
to
go
do
on,
some
sorry.
maths now after this, aren't I?
Well, be careful because I don't want to smell something burning all the way in Pennsylvania.
But who's ready for some good news?
Oh, me. Does it have
Yay,
a catchy
something happy.
3-word slogan?
So
Yay, fluff.
Does it have traffic lights?
yes.
I'm going
Here
to
we go.
cancel you until you give us traffic lights.
But apparently, one dose of the Oxford vaccine cuts hospitalizations by up to 94%. 4 weeks after being jabbed, new research from Scotland suggests. This is from The Guardian. No, the Metro, sorry. And
I wasn't paying attention there. I was waiting for some good news. What did I miss? Is it a good thing?
Yeah, Oxford vaccine cuts hospital admissions by
Oh, I see.
94% after
get you.
4 weeks.
I get you.
That's the headline.
Surely they mean the good old patriotic British vaccine.
The Pfizer vaccine also substantially reduces the risk of being admitted to hospital by up to 85% after the same period, according to the first study on a country-wide effect of vaccines in the community. The news will come as a relief to the UK amid a rapid vaccination rollout, which has already seen more than 17.5 million people receive a first jab.
Now, the question I have, though, is here in the US, as I'm sure you're aware, we have this rabid movement of idiots known as anti vaxxers who so far have been pretty successfully throwing around propaganda and outright lies that our COVID vaccines they're no good or they actually give you COVID or what have you. So my question is, do you have that sort of lunacy across the pond? And
Oh, yes.
how devastating of an effect does that kind of craziness have the potential to, pose to vaccination efforts?
It's a big
Here,
problem.
anti-vaxxers are why we may never see an end to the pandemic.
Yeah, we may not reach herd immunity because there are so many people. And the scary part is I saw one article that said like 30% of people who actually work in medical facilities are refusing to get it.
I heard that. Yeah.
You know, and I'm like, okay, how did you? And I'm sure that number is kind of skewed. I'm sure it's not necessarily all people who are college educated. It probably includes like cleaning staff and such. But still,
I don't believe there's a lot of bullshit out there claiming that most anti-vaxxers are college educated for middle class. It's like, no.
we did have that pharmacist in Wisconsin who intentionally ruined 500 doses of the virus.
I think we might have had something like that here in Philadelphia.
Yeah. Yeah, so this was somebody who had at least gone to school long enough to become a licensed pharmacist and still bought into the conspiracy that these were going to hurt people.
We've got problem here.
You're playing the long game. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if people like that intentionally obtained credentials for the purpose of sabotage. I mean, look at that wacko witch doctor with the ridiculous mumbo jumbo that Trump supported right before he got COVID.
Yeah.
For the whatever the fuck that mumbo jumbo name was, hydroxychloroquine. That's what it was.
It's a genuine problem here because, and I've heard these people speaking on the radio when they phone in to say why they refuse to have the vaccine. And it's not just your crazy Bill Gates microchip shit. There's a problem in, as we call it, the BAME community, because of a lot of people from that community, they've got this fear that they're being used either as an experiment or that they're being given a different vaccine than the white folk. And as ludicrous as that sounds, because it is ludicrous, obviously, there is historical evidence of black folks being used,
Yeah, I was going to say that.
in America.
The Tuskegee syphilis experiments.
Exactly. And so
that it actually was nurses who were injecting black people with syphilis.
Yeah.
Just so that they could monitor the progression of the disease.
And that's a genuine fear that these people have over here. Yep. They think they've been either used as an experiment or they're being given something different which will actually give them COVID. Sounds ridiculous, but there are people who genuinely believe that. That's why over here we just had recently a little commercial or whatever. Promo's not the right word in this situation, where famous UK celebrity type people who are black were saying, look, it's nonsense. I'm having mine. Look, I'm having it done now kind of thing. Get this done. It's important. Big thing. And then, of course, you've also got the crazies who believe the same shit that your crazies believe in.
Oh, that it causes autism?
They've not tried that one yet.
Well, didn't you know?
Oh, I am very familiar with this nonsense, but our lot are not using that one as one of their excuses yet. I mean, they're still bringing up the usual crap that the vaccines are made from aborted babies and all that shit.
Yeah.
So vegetarians can't have them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, isn't Piers Morgan, Jeremy Corbyn's brother, one of these people who are who's anti-mask, anti-lockdown, anti-vax. He's been leading these demonstrations.
Anti anything.
Yeah. And I think he's been arrested a couple of times for leading these demonstrations.
Yeah, he was doing one of the anti-mask protests in Trafalgar Square, I think it was.
That's right,
along with other such scientists, notable scientists such as David Icke. And
yeah,
I saw some coverage on that.
He's an absolute, yeah.
Yeah, I saw some pictures from the Trafalgar Square thing.
Okay. From slightly, better news to some batshit crazy news.
Oh, it's not Chinese bots, is it? Haven't we learned our lesson?
No, this is well. Let me bring up the article from the Metro. Boris wants to build a giant roundabout under the Isle of Man.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
And there he is with the map
to show us where the Isle of Man is. Hang on a minute.
Yeah.
Can I say that Johnson has such a punchable face. My God.
Yeah.
I hadn't seen this, but can I guess? Is this anything to do with the fact that the Isle of Man could, in some weird, wrong way, be considered to be halfway between Scotland and Northern Ireland?
Well, kind of. Well, the original route that he did have in mind, between Scotland and Northern Ireland.
Yeah, the one that's full of bombs.
Yeah, yeah. There it's blocked by all these World War II bombs that were dumped there. So he's had to come up with an alternative route. And what what he's proposing?
This is not real, surely.
Is a tunnel. Going for I think 4 tunnels. Going from Stranraer to the Isle of Man, one from Belfast to Heysham, through the Isle of Man, and one from Liverpool to the Isle of Man. And there's going to be a magic roundabout underneath the Isle of Man, connecting them all.
Oh, I'm so not going to do the theme tune for that right now. I'll save that.
And
please do it. I'd love to see you embarrass yourself for the umpteenth time.
No, it would just not work with an American audience, I'm afraid.
But
I will one day set up a YouTube channel where I hum popular children's theme tunes from the 70s.
Yeah. The article says, under the alleged plans, the transport network would see as many as 3 tunnels heading out from England and Scotland in a bid to iron out post-Brexit issues across the UK. They would connect at a roundabout named Douglas Junction after the island's capital, before heading out across the Irish Sea beneath the Isle of Man.
Should they not have called it Dougal?
Dougal Junction.
I'm really proud of that one, but the Americans won't get it.
It's been dubbed the Boris Borough.
Oh God, yeah.
I was wondering if they were actually just trolling and they named it after Douglas Adams because the Hitchhiker's Guide started with them destroying the planet for a new roundabout.
I'm seeing a problem with this already. Apart from the obvious, because you can't dig a tunnel and have a magic roundabout under the Isle of Man. The Isle of Man it's not technically part of the UK.
Oh, it's not.
What is it a part of?
It's a principality.
It's a principality.
No, sorry, I got that wrong. It's a protectorate, actually.
That's the word, yeah.
It comes under the protection of Her Majesty the Queen.
Yeah, but it's not actually part of us, is it?
No, they have their own. They have their own assembly.
Do you think they've been consulted on this roundabout because they might have something to say about it?
But apparently, according to sources in Westminster, one senior official has described the plan as batshit.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That pretty much sums the government up. The Isle of Man, this would not work because the Isle of Man, which is a lovely place, by the way, I think it's still stuck in the 70s, but it is nice. I used to be taken there when I was a little kid on an aeroplane, would you believe? But it has its own tax laws.
Yes,
so this to me means it could not work. That's just one reason why it couldn't work.
The tunnel would have to cross Beaufort's Dyke, a 32-mile trench where around 1.5 million tons of World War II ammunition was dumped, a route ministers believe would be impractical. Mm-hmm. This is what we were saying just now. That's why they've had to come up with this magic roundabout scheme instead.
It would be a bit of a problem if your boring machine keeps exploding.
None of this is real. I watched another interesting video.
Have a bunch of foundational, structural. Exactly. It just sounds like it's doomed to fail, and it would end up in a large-scale disaster.
These aren't real things. These are dead cats to get us all outraged and arguing with each other. Because the original plan was Scotland to Northern Ireland on a bridge. Let's build a bridge. And a clever person who does architecturingness said, no, there are bombs there. You can't do this. Plus, it's also one of the roughest bits of sea on the planet.
Yeah.
And it then changed into a tunnel. And it was pointed out that no, There are lots of bombs there. Not a good idea. Also, you know our proper channel from here to France,
Yeah.
because of the kind of rock that was burrowed through, chalky kind of stuff, it was
Yeah.
relatively easy, even though they only took 10 years to do. Whereas this kind of rock is not like that. It's very,
No.
very hard rock, and it would be a technical nightmare to do it.
Well, you just need to get Elon Musk to bore it through, because he'll do it at a tenth the cost and in half the time.
Yeah, it even says in this article, another source said, well, some senior aides described the plan as batshit. They acknowledge it as a Führer bunker project.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
One told the paper, just as Hitler moved around imaginary armies in the dying days of the Third Reich, so the number 10 policy unit is condemned to keep looking at this idea which exists primarily in the mind of the Prime Minister.
Yeah.
Okay, well, there's an easy way that you can put a stop to all the nonsense. You just start promoting, telling everyone that if they try to start on this project, it's going to scare all your British fish into the EU waters.
Yeah, but this is from a man who couldn't even build a bridge in London.
Yeah. You've
Couldn't
got
find
So
enough
his one
witches.
bridge is definitely falling down then.
Yes,
This is what a lazy ass con man Johnson is, who has these nice ideas to get him the likes,
yeah,
if you will, and that's all he cares about, popularity. And
Well-
the bridge that Mike is referring to, what was it called, the Flower Bridge or something? He managed to persuade businesses and people to donate millions and millions of pounds for this bridge over the Thames. Not like there aren't enough of them already. Millions and millions of pounds, and the bridge never happened.
yeah.
Where did the money go?
Yes.
Yeah, we never found out, did we?
No. Probably went on child support.
Probably.
Douglas is actually a really nice place. I'm referring to our friend inside chat. I've not been there since decades, but it was. The Isle of Man is lovely.
It is, yeah. I've been there.
Have you been recently?
I went there about 10 years ago.
Oh.
Yeah, about 10 years ago.
How did you get there? On a hairy plane or on a
But
boating?
ferry.
A ferry.
Yeah.
Oh, we like ferries. I used to
It
get
took about
taken on
9
the
hours.
aeroplane.
Ah, right. Okay.
I would get dragged to Blackpool Airport,
But
international hub, and we flew over to the Isle of Man on a big aeroplane that had propellers.
nice.
Nice.
But the thing about this tunnel, that the reason why is one of the many reasons why it's impractical. It doesn't resolve the border issue. You still got the border. You still got you'll still have the paperwork to contend with when you actually cross the border into Northern Ireland.
Yeah.
It doesn't solve anything.
It solves absolutely nothing. But I
Yeah, you
think-
just have to have a checkpoint at the end of the tunnel.
Did you see when the ferry companies were trolling the government, and they showed that graphic of all the new ferry services that they've started from Northern Ireland to mainland Europe, to France, totally avoiding Great Britain, going all the way fucking around it?
Yes. Yeah.
I think this is Johnson's way of getting back at their trolling.
Yeah.
Fuck your ferries. I'm having good trouble.
But he thinks it will bring more trade into Northern Ireland, between Scotland and Northern Ireland. But
Complete nonsense.
the thing about what made the Channel Tunnel successful is because the ports Dover and Calais are very close to London and Paris. and of course, Paris. You've got the connection to the EU as well.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So
you were linking major cities, and you were linking it to the European railway system.
Exactly, and again, for the benefit of foreign visitors, you could if you can get to London, you can literally get on a train in London, and it will take you all the way to wherever, Paris or whatever, very quickly, and you can drive your car onto this train or your big lorry full of goods.
Yeah.
Now, does that actually become cost effective to just be putting a lorry on the train?
Say that again.
Does that actually become cost effective to be, putting the lorry on the train to take it over to France?
Oh yeah, because what's the alternative?
Well, I don't know how the costs break down over there, so I didn't know.
Well, you had two options to get from Dover to Calais. You either use the tunnel or you use a ferry. And it's easy peasy. It's like you going from where you live to, I don't know, the next state. It's not a big deal. It's like, whatever.
Yeah.
But the difficulty, and physically, that structure is obviously still there. Physically, practically, you can still get from A to B. But now that we're not part of the EU, we've got this thing called customs. You can't just go from here to there without itemizing every bloody item you've got in your big lorry.
Yeah, there's a mess load of paperwork, and they want to inspect things.
And the paperwork and all that, and being inspected, that's a big deal as well. Hence all the pictures of the tailbacks back in January.
Yeah.
If one lorry, let's say, previously could get from Dover to Calais without any hassle whatsoever, then trade works, your car manufacturing plants in the UK work, because that's how we do things, shipping parts from A to B, just like we're in the next state, a neighbouring state. But once you introduce the delays of inspections, if one lorry, I forget the exact figures, but if one lorry, instead of being seamless A to B, has to be delayed by, I think, 3 minutes, you get a tailback of about 25 miles and delays that go into days rather than minutes.
Yeah.
That's the problem we've got there, and this is why EU companies or companies based in the EU are saying, fuck you, UK, it's not worth the hassle, we're not sending stuff to you. And that's why companies in the UK are going out of business at an alarming rate, because they can't export to the EU.
Well, and I understand that's also, part of why they're having problems just stocking the stores, especially with perishable goods. Because, if they're shipping produce over and the stuff gets delayed a day, then what you're getting on the store shelf isn't that fresh.
It doesn't work. And I don't mean to go off on a rant about this, but you know perfectly well by now that this pisses me off so much. People just don't get it. We're so used to have been part of this for 40 odd years that it worked so brilliantly and so seamlessly that nobody knew it was a thing. Take it away and you've got massive problems.
The people who voted to leave the EU really had no concept of what that meant.
Yeah, it might seem trivial, but it affects the average man or woman on the street as well in their day-to-day life, if you like.
Like I say, it affects you if you're buying groceries.
It affects absolutely everything, but nobody gets this because we've been such an integral part of this thing for 40 odd years. Now it's all different. Random trivial example, I went to the post office the other day and I had to stand waiting for 25 minutes because the lady on my little circle that says stand here, COVID, and the lady at the counter, the lady who was being served at the counter, was trying to send something trivial to a country in the EU. It was a palaver because forms, extra costs are incurred. Everything's just totally fucked up. I will now
Well,
shut
I
up,
get
sorry.
that with the post office because, I sometimes am shipping international packages, and it's like shipping anything within the United States. Yeah, they just, kind of slap the sticker on that I paid the price and it's gone. If I want to ship something up to Canada, yeah, then I've got to fill out 4 forms in carbon.
There's another thing also about VAT, and I'll keep this brief. I apologise because Mike's gone into overtime. William Shatner, who we all love. Maybe.
Screw
He
William
said-
Shatner. He has me blocked.
From his... Okay, he gets a thumbs up from me. He said he's not going to ship anything from his, his merch store, whatever it is, to the UK because it now involves a shit ton of paperwork for him. And he personally, let's imagine he's personally running this store. He now has to physically himself fill out all these forms and collect the VAT himself.
Well, or even if
Rather
he's
than-
not doing it personally, he has to pay an employee to do it. So that's cutting into his profits.
Rather than our government doing it, our government has now said to you, guess what? You're now unpaid tax collectors. You've got to collect the VAT on this item for us. You're doing the paperwork,
Yep.
and you're sending us the money. Welcome to Plague Island.
Yes. Exactly. Exactly.
I think I did one of my rants there. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. But to finish off, we've got 2 and finally stories,
Yay!
and I'll do the sheep one first. I think.
Sheep.
Yeah.
Oh, is this the one that? Yeah. I think I know the one.
Is this happy for the sheep or just for the Welshman?
Yeah. Barak, the sheep, shorn of 35 kilograms fleece after being found roaming in rural Australia. There he is.
For the benefit of the Americans, a kilogram is a unit of weight.
We know what a
rogue-
kilogram is, thank you.
A rogue sheep found wandering in rural Victoria has been shorn of his heavily overgrown 35 kilogram fleece. Nicknamed Barak by his rescuers, the merino ram was taken to Edgar's Mission Farm Sanctuary where the fleece was removed to save his life.
That looks
He
like
was in
me
a bit
before
of
I
a
had my
bad
shave.
way. He was underweight, and due to all the wool around his face, he could barely see.
That's definitely me.
See,
Yeah, it just
And-
shows you what happens that these animals that have been domesticated for like 1,000 years now can't really survive in the wild.
I used to own 350 sheep. Just thought I'd throw that out there.
Okay.
And I'm not going to say the C words, but I hate the fuckers.
But I'll try and share the video.
And
actually.
Diane is correcting you. A kilogram is not weight, it's a unit of mass.
Oh, damn. She's correct. I apologise.
Oh my God, Stool apologizing for something. That's an odd development.
Actually, if you go on Lone Wanderer's channel, there is a clip of Stool apologizing in a previous show.
People keep saying this.
We
but
have
I
it
think,
documented.
I think it's one of these... what's it called where they're doing this thing where they'd make AI?
The deep fake.
A deep fake. Yeah, it's a deep fake.
Okay, I'll show the video. Oh, I'm gonna play after an advert. Apparently,
Dude, you still have ads on your... What are you doing?
here we go.
Poor thing.
I have no sympathy. I'm sorry, but I hate them.
But there he goes, getting Sean.
Oh God.
Those
No.
poor clippers. I can only imagine how many of those that must have gone through.
You know, I might do a mic and write a list because I should probably talk about this in one of my immensely popular little things. Because I've got a bizarrely weird amount of knowledge about sheep, and please don't clip and play that, you dirty fuckers.
Yeah, I was just wondering if Sloth Girl was watching, if she'd be able to tell us how many skeins of yarn they get from that.
I can tell you one thing, the amount of wool that was sheared off that animal in this country would probably get you, when you sold it, about 2 or 3 quid.
And,
Wow. That was anticlimactic. I was expecting it to be more.
Oh no, it's a bad fucking business to be in.
Yeah, the people who raise the sheep don't get much because it takes a lot of processing to clean it and spin it into something usable.
And this is where I disagree with some vegans who say that it's harmful to the sheep to shave them.
Mhm.
Yeah, definitely show them that video. That would definitely serve to
Yeah.
prove the point that they're just utterly wrong and completely stupid.
I
You
do
know what
find
else
it
is-
ironic that they shave all of the fur off of the animal and then they give them a wool blanket.
That's irony.
Yes. But
Even
moving
more
on-
harmful
Okay.
to the
It's
little
like
sheep.
it's like feeding a pig bacon.
Just to make you, hopefully nobody's eating, but just to add context to this, the most harmful thing to sheep is actually when they're born and they can't walk, because there's a special little fly that will land on their eyeballs and chew their eyes out.
Yes,
Oh,
I've
is
heard of
that the botfly larva?
Please excuse me while I commit toaster bath hearing that information. Jesus Christ, I'm gonna have nightmares. Fuck
Did you
you
just
very
say-
much, Stool.
Did you just say commit toaster bath?
I did. Did I fucking stutter?
No, but
That's-
it's a new phrase.
That's the second phrase I've learned today. My first is in Minecraft.
Yeah. And moving on to my finally story. Who's ready for this?
I'm ready.
Okay, I do want to ask though, why does anyone go through the effort of bathing with a toaster? Don't you have a hairdryer already in the bathroom? It does the same job.
That's what I was thinking.
So, yeah. Children expelled after school finds out about mom's OnlyFans account.
Oh yeah, I saw something on this last night too.
And there's the mum. 3 children were expelled from their Sacramento, California Catholic school Sunday after school administrators took issue with their mother's job modeling on the adult members only site OnlyFans. According to 44-year-old Crystal Jackson, her foray into OnlyFans began as a way to rekindle the spark in her 14-year marriage. I went through menopause early, and I was just like wanting to have that connection with my husband again, she told NBC affiliate KCRA. So she and her husband, Chris, began posting content to OnlyFans, which reportedly ranges from pin-up style photos to sexy stories, Crystal writes, for their subscribers.
I've yet to set up my OnlyFans.
Okay, does this one mention how successful she was? Oh yeah, there it comes.
Yeah. Their hot wife content was a hit. When the couple began uploading to OnlyFans a little over a year ago, they made $15,000 for their very first month. Now they're
Jesus.
putting over $150,000 a month. Jackson's Instagram account under the alias Mrs. Poindexter boasts over 500,000 followers.
Well, doesn't that just really solidify the saying sex sells?
Yeah. Hell, if I thought people would pay me over $100,000 a month, I'd be doing it.
You get this confidence in yourself, she told KCRA. It's that confidence that you gain that you're like, maybe I do feel sexy, or maybe I am sexy.
It's definitely a source of external validation, that's for sure.
Mm. Not
Well,
everyone.
especially if people are sending you money every month, you know. That means it
That's
wasn't
what I'm
just
saying.
it wasn't just like a one-shot thing or anything.
But not everyone was moved by Jackson's confidence boost. Last week, Jackson was interviewed by British tabloid The Sun about how her modelling has angered fellow parents in their tight-knit community. She told The Sun that neighbours and parents from their children's school, Sacred Heart Parish, discovered the account over the summer and have bombarded her with texts and phone calls calling her disgusting and saying her children should be kicked out. Jackson also claims to have been booted from the role of room mother in her second graders class due to complaints. I wonder who discovered her OnlyFans account, you know, and how it was discovered.
Some wife caught her husband jacking off to it.
Yeah,
and the husband's excuse was, no, you don't understand. See, her kids go to our school.
those are my thoughts exactly.
I'm going to do a Twitter poll to find out what the people want to see on my OnlyFans. I think people want to see my beard.
The result of that.
What beard? What beard, Stool? You don't have no damn beard. I just want you to know that Josh is standing in front of me stroking his to kind of rub it in your face. I told him you were on the stream and he got this evil look in his eye.
You know what? Josh's beard is the shittest beard ever, so...
His beard is not shit. You stop that.
Better than yours.
I feel like this is just going to become a thing. Like, the two of them roast each other's beards anytime.
Yeah, it totally will be a thing because I do love things. So hashtag Josh's beard.
Hashtag Josh's beard. If you start that on Twitter, I can't. I cannot with you. When could I ever though?
You see, the difference between
have you
you
heard
and I...
Ocean Keltoid's bit about his omnipotent beard? That the Christian apologist, when they say things like, of course God can't make a square circle, he can only do things that are within his nature. So Ocean Keltoid has claimed that his beard is omnipotent because it can do anything that is within the nature of a beard.
I like that.
Oh, yeah, thanks to Amiga Nuts for shilling out all the various links.
Yeah, he really needs to get a life.
I didn't see that because the comments weren't working for a bit on my computer, but now they are.
Yeah, sometimes StreamYard's kind of slow on that.
Yeah. So thanks to Amiga Nuts.
Yeah. Well, I have to be going. I've already been here longer than I expected to be today.
Well, we're always happy to have you, Purple.
It's time to say goodbye anyway.
Okay.
So, yeah, well, it's beyond time to say goodbye in all fairness. But so, yeah, on that bombshell, we'll say good night. Yeah,
Before you go, Mike.
Okay.
I know you're always thirsty for new ideas for your popular show.
No, I know.
I think before the unfinalies, you should do... Here's an out of context... Here's a without context idea for the next show. And you could have a little bit of music playing while you introduced it. My suggestions are ball hammer to the forehead and vaccine passports.
Let me see.
There you go.
Okay. And but before we go, you may have noticed in the description that I'm plugging Stool's various bits and bobs.
You evil git. You said you were going to patronise me, and you've not done it.
Oh, he
Come on.
definitely patronized you, just not
Bring
in
it
the
on.
sense you were hoping for.
Come on, Mike, bring it on. Patronise
Bring
me. Come on.
Yeah, so Stool, you have to correct me if I'm wrong here, Stool, but you're kind of struggling at the moment financially.
Okay, that was patronising. Well done. You win.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to come across as patronising, but
No,
I mean,
dude,
if he really wants to be patronized, you know
Dude,
what? School, DM me your address. We can send you a bunch of.
please let me have this moment. I love it that he put in his YouTube description, patronise Stool. I mean, that's hilarious. It made me get a little bit wet. Not in a lady way.
We can patronize you by sending you a bunch of
yeah.
a bunch of products to kind of stimulate the growth of a beard. Considering.
Oh dear. Hashtag Josh's beard. Here we go.
In all seriousness, he could, he could do with our help, I think. So
Right,
buy him
let's
a
not dwell on
coffee.
this. Let's not dwell on this. We've had a nice, lovely chat, and I've enjoyed this really. Bigly, Mike. This is one of your better ones, and let's be honest, most of them are shit. This has been. You're doing very well at this. You're getting better. You seem to now have your act together. Yes, I patronised you.
He even brought on a charismatic woman to boost his ratings.
Yes.
Oh, is she still in the green room? Let her in.
Fuck you.
With knobs on.
Yeah, fuck you. You can. That doesn't work with Americans.
And the horse you rode in on.
And the horse you rode. No,
Well-
listen, ignore all these links. If you want to click on anything once in your life, don't do the Patreon thing and all that shit. The Ko-fi or Ko-fi, I don't know.
Ko-fi, yeah.
That's the thing to
Ko-fi.
go for. And I'm going to tell you yet again, my young friends, why this is so. No fees, no transaction fees. That's the way to go. It's the future.
Yeah, Ko-fi seems to be a really good tip jar, especially if people just want to make a one-time contribution to a creator.
Correct, yeah.
Kofi's in there, and other links are in there as well. So let's help him out, guys. Anyway, I've embarrassed him enough now.
Okay.
Are
I've
Are
just
you
been
sure
chilling
this
out.
such a thing is embarrassing him enough? Because I'm not.
I feel really bad now. Mike, I love your beard.
Ah, thank you.
I've just been chilling out my links in the side chat because I've got about an hour for dinner and then I'm going to be on the rest of the night.
I don't love Josh's beard. It's shit. Hashtag Josh's beard.
Leave Josh's beard alone. I need to call Chris Crocker to make a video about this.
Anyway,
You leave my boyfriend and his majestic beard alone. Because it's better than the beard that's probably growing out of your asshole, Stool.
Whoa.
Well, I
Yes,
should hope so, but that's a pretty low bar, isn't it?
Well, it's not really. Well, it doesn't really do much good to set it very high now, does it?
And Purple Rhymes with Orange has shared a few links. But
Yeah, well, those
I can't
are
share
the-
them.
Yeah, I'm going to be on 3 shows tonight. So I'll be on with the Shills at 7, which is in about an hour and a half. And right after that, I'll be on with Will and Jen on their What the Fuck show. And then after that, I'll be leading into my normal midnight show.
Well plugged. Excellent.
Okay, can I just do an addendum, please? I feel really bad now. Look, Mike's beard is lovely, not like Josh's. Hashtag Josh's beard. But do the same to Mike. Click on his stuff and give him a couple of quid for whatever. If you've enjoyed this, just give him a quid or two. You know, it helps. Every little helps, as Tesco says.
Oh. And anyway, we'll thank you guys for thank you to my co-host, Niece.
You're welcome.
Boo.
And
Oh,
thank
and-
Shut up.
For anyone who didn't see it, you've got to go to Mike's channel and see his response to Nervardia.
I watched it. It's
Well,
good.
Yep.
It's not my response. It's the response of my grunkle.
Yes.
who,
You know what? I watched that, Mike, and I cringed because were you doing a Lancashire accent or trying to do a Yorkshire accent?
It's supposed to be a Yorkshire accent.
Okay. I got slightly paranoid. What? Yeah.
But yeah.
But
It's
top
an
marks for
excellent
wearing the
piece, and the
fat cap.
character is frighteningly believable.
Yes, exactly. He's an amalgamation of people like Kent Hovind and other Christian apologists that we all debate with.
Where is it?
You use the term "we" loosely there, but I think what we should do is for our Christmas number 1, 2021, you and your character, Mike, should get together and do a bit of a pop music video.
Yes.
What music video about Stool's non-existent beard? What?
I will destroy you.
I actually
How are you
another
going to destroy me? You're over there and I'm over here. Good luck
another
getting out
thought
of the
for you
UK.
there.
My beard has magical lengthy powers.
What
Any-
beard? What beard? Bold of you to keep insinuating you actually
It's the
have
one that will
balding.
grow back tomorrow, whereas Josh's has taken,
Oh.
about 10 years?
Josh's beard grows in about 10 minutes, sir.
Anyways,
Yeah, Mike, you
Good.
should get a hold of Compelled Unbeliever and do a collab with him with his Reverend Faithful.
yes, I've done a collab with him with Reverend Faithful in the past, and yeah, we should do another one. Anyway, good night all.
And to all a good night.
Good
Give
night,
this video
everybody.
a thumbs up, and hit subscribe and hit the bell icon, etc., etc. And we'll see you next time. Bye
Oh,
for now.
don't hit it. It didn't do anything wrong. Tap it politely.
Hit Mike's bell.